Happy Saturday. It's college football day, of course. Um, I know I look like yesterday, so what? um, well, first game starts at 12. Starts
That's
at.
why you.
I wasn't playing football today, regardless. I was too tired. All right, Michigan, Rutgers, Oklahoma, Cincinnati, Florida State, Clemson. Those some good 12 o'clocks right there. Yeah, but last night, but Auburn beat Texas A&M today. I don't know. I picked Texas A&M. Man, let me see. Where's the schedule for today? TS. Oh, Canadian Football League. I wasn't looking for that. All right. Schedule. Okay, so Wisconsin finished off Purdue last night, which is good. Did I pick Virginia or NC State last night? Because I think I picked NC State. I don't know. Did I? Did I pick Virginia? I don't know. Boise. Yep. Wow. So all the games really were pretty close, except for never mind. Damn, Air Force blew them out in the water like that. I said that too last night. I was like, Air Force does not run the same offense, just like Army Born has. Um, I'm not even showing the screen. Oh my goodness. But yeah, Wisconsin handled business. Finished that. But yeah, Air Force killing them like that is kind of nuts. I didn't expect that. Uh, who else? Okay. Yeah, let me just look at the 12 o'clock games real quick. Oklahoma, Cincinnati. I don't know because Oklahoma has the old coach from Clemson, so that's probably why Clemson is so different. Damn, that is why Clemson is so different. So Oklahoma has, I think his last name is what is it, Vernable, something like that. What's the head coach of Venables? Yep, yep. Who the served as associate head coach, defensive coordinator, linebacker coach at Clemson. Yeah, yeah, he was that dude. Because if the other teams can't score, and you got a great offensive mind, Clemson. Y'all was set. Y'all was good. But damn. Hey, Bob Stoops. Great. Did great. All right. So he's just gonna stick with the XFL because I heard XFL are starting to combine with What was that other league called? USFL? Yeah, I think they're joining. Can't really complain about that. That sounds pretty good. Okay. So the only real 12 o'clock game to tune into is really Florida State and Clemson. And I really want Florida State to pull this off. I really want them to. Hmm. What?
Defense to do some more in this game. And we saw Jim Harbaugh. He's popular here, too. He's back sideline after a 3-game suspension.
From my perspective, I went to a place I've never been, which, of course, I undecided. A player or a coach, seeing the game in a different way, through a different lens. I think it's made me a better coach.
Hey, why is there so many different audios right now? Am I tripping?
The carry down to the 13-yard line. On one pitch outside to Calvert. Pitch to Calvert. Puts his head down and
that's it's kind of a big deal. Wow. Cause what conference is San Jose State in? What? How to play rap. To call yourself ugly God is something. It's something. You know what I mean?
Back in 2017, this is what Ugly God's performances look like. However, if you search up his name today, you'll find questions like what happened to Ugly God, or get greeted by articles of how he's been arrested and fatally shot his best friend's father. I'm Luesta, and today we're going to discuss Ugly God's rise and unexpected disappearance in the rap world. Royce Rodriguez, aka Ugly God, never took making music particularly seriously. When he was a kid in Mississippi, he started rhyming in the 10th grade under the hilarious name of Pussy Bacon.
Now, did you have like an original rap name?
Yeah, my original name was Pussy Bacon, bro.
What the fuck?
Luckily, he decided to switch it up to Ugly God, but his content didn't necessarily get more mature. Take his first song released on SoundCloud, for example. The song was called I Beat My Meat.
Bitch, I beat my meat. Give a fuck about what you think. I know all up in my sheets. Bitch, my swag is so complete.
Sadly, many people in his social circles didn't find this track too amusing.
So you came out with Beat My Meat, and then your basketball coach makes you take it down.
Yeah.
Why?
I guess they feel like I want to pursue a basketball career, and that didn't compliment it with that song.
Eventually, Ugly God would graduate from high school and began attending the University of Southern Mississippi, and would later upload the track back on his SoundCloud. And amazingly, it did numbers. The song was really well received, and fans loved how funny it was. Considering that he had hit the scene as a teenager, Ugly God knew what it took to make content pop online, and his initial buzz didn't even specifically come from his songs. A good example of this was when he would make videos of putting lizards on his nose. Although it was something simple, it had fans commenting things like, "I can watch this over and over again and not get tired of it. This is the
Why?
funniest shit ever. How does he catch them so easily? He really is a god." Ugly God even claimed that he used these viral videos to promote his music. And on March 2017, Ugly God would officially become a household name after he dropped a single titled Water that went stupid.
Water, 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 water.
This song was also co-produced by him, and the beat was truly something special. The release of this track correlates perfectly with the time that his SoundCloud began picking up traction, amassing around 60,000 followers by the time of June 2016. Within weeks of the track coming out, it racked up millions of views, landed number 34 on Billboard, and a year later, it was certified platinum. Later in the video, we're gonna discuss how this song would play a huge role in his downfall as a rapper. But for now, just know that this song was really big. The single's release even helped him ink a deal with Asylum Records on October of 2017.
Don't tell me that's the nigga Daddy Bolt. They say he killed his best friend Pop. Now he say the boat and the video border got something.
And suddenly, Ugly God was unavoidable. Once everyone had their eyes on him, Ugly God attempted to follow up with another hit and tried a number of different tactics, including a diss track against himself titled Fuck Ugly God. This song also did really well, and fans couldn't get enough of your boy Pussy Bacon. From here, he was on the top of the world. He was performing at large venues, getting features and collaborations from other famous rappers, and of course, making that bag in the process. Despite his success, Ugly God began to face his first problem with his newfound fame when he took issue to being grouped into the category of mumble rap. This term was coined by real hip-hop heads who disapproved of the direction that hip-hop was going. However, Ugly God didn't believe that mumble rap was his calling and considered it a slur against his generation's artistry.
Some people throw me in that realm, some don't, but I think it's just a kind of a disrespect word called mumble rap when you can really actually understand what they're saying.
Many fans agree, with some claiming his response made him seem less of a mumble rapper and more of a humble rapper. Humble is a great way to describe Ugly God's persona. However, as you will see later in this video, his humbleness may have came at a cost to his rap career. But instead of trying to defend the quality of his music, he just publicly acknowledged that the songs he made were just as mediocre as his critics claimed it to be.
You said that you feel your music is trash.
Oh, it's trash, terrible.
So you're saying your own music is trash.
Fucking trash.
Okay.
This is a tactic used by rappers like Tyler, the Creator, to promote their album. By lowering expectations, listeners can...
Hold on. Hold on.
can be pleasantly surprised and end up liking the song even more. It also shows respect to the listener, as the artist appears to be more humble. Nonetheless, Ugly God's song Water was a huge hit, so he then followed this up with his debut project, The Booty Tape, which did okay, landing at number 27 on the charts and even had a Wiz Khalifa feature. However, singles like Bitch and Stop Smoking Black and Milds didn't really pick up the same traction that Water did, hinting at the fact that he may have been a one-hit wonder. But more on that later. In 2017, he was also on the XXL freshman list with popular artists like XXXTentacion and Playboi Carti. Many artists from that list did really great and went on to have incredibly successful rap careers. But Ugly God's career seemingly stagnated. He didn't really drop much music after and would rarely pop up in interviews or social media. So, what happened? In a No Jumper interview from 2019, Ugly God actually expressed remorse over doing the XXL cover, as it created a situation of too much too soon.
So like what I've said before is that before XXL, even the water shit, I even say Wild Water was coming out, but my fan base was growing so like steadily and organically. And then like just looking at my numbers, which I fucking hate going by numbers, but sometimes it matters. And like going by numbers and like as far as my followers and like my analytics and stuff, as soon as XXL happened, that shit shot the fuck up.
I bet.
And it was I feel like I didn't get my core fan base where I wanted it to before, that.
Except for a mixtape known as Little Something Before the Album, and featuring on Lil Yachty's Boom, which earned him his second and final gold plaque, 2018 began to mark the moment that Ugly God began to step away from rap. And if we take a look back to an old Snapchat video that he posted in late 2017, we can find some answers as to why he did so. I talked to one of the smartest guys I ever met in my life, and he helped me come to my senses, he wrote. While my joke around songs are fun to make and churn up to, I'm creating no kind of substance or mark. I just want to bring to light that I am very versatile. And I have been scared to show my versatility for all this time because I didn't get into this position I am in now because of my versatility. I feel like if I did show my versatility, people would stop fucking with me. But if people genuinely did fuck with me, they would respect what I do regardless of what angle I try to approach. I just feel like I'm on the edge of permanently being taken as a joke, and that would be the downfall of my career. With Ugly God being known for making people laugh, and his personality helping him make a name for himself in the music industry, this was a big shift. And although the likes of Tyler the Creator, once again, made a similar statement before, it seemed like he was making the switch at the wrong moment in time. Being that he said this during a tough period in his personal life when he was struggling with his mental health. After making this statement, he went on a 1-year hiatus instead of going to the lab and getting straight to work. Then, in November of 2018, he spoke about taking some time away from the game, tweeting, "All bullshit aside, I hope y'all can tell I'm back on my bullshit. I really was super depressed for a whole year and nobody even noticed. But it's okay. I shouldn't expect y'all to care about my personal life."
See, that's what it is. That's what it is. These fan bases don't necessarily care about the artist.
"I'm just here to be a good friend and deliver good music to y'all." However, he continued to remain out of the spotlight before returning as a healthier person and believed that his music could still be great even though he had been less active for a while.
So you took a fasting from the internet.
Yeah.
How does that help you? What effect has that had on you?
It's so much bullshit going on, and I'd rather just not see that shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd rather not get inspired by people doing shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Does it make it harder when you return though?
Kinda, but I'm confident what the fuck I'm putting out. So
Right.
it's gonna slide.
Right.
But as it turned out, he was mistaken. In the lead up to finally releasing his debut album on Asylum Records, he dropped singles like Hello with Lil Pump and Lost in the Sauce. But for all his talk about switching up his style due to his expiry date on his old approach, the record suggested that maybe he just wasn't capable of delivering anymore. Released in August of 2019, his new album Bumps and Bruises peaked at number 46 on Billboard, which, don't get me wrong, this is still really good, but it proved that he definitely didn't strike while the iron was hot. It was a good run, but 2 years is a long time in viral rap years, wrote Pitchfork in a 3.6 review. And Ugly God's debut album, Bumps and Bruises, confirms everyone's suspicions about the relationship between viral hip-hop fame and rapping abilities. Fans were also seemingly unimpressed. Ugly God has become a basic trap artist, average production, bad punchlines, and also boring and repetitive. All of the songs before the interlude I liked, but everything after was kinda trash. While there was obviously some hardcore fans who defended it, claiming that he was becoming overhated, it seemed like the tables were beginning to turn for Ugly God. And it was clear that the feedback was getting to him. Because once the record came and went into the culture, Ugly God retreated to the shadows once again. And rather than trying to build on his latest release, he has basically taken a vow of silence. And when he did pop back up online, it would only be to express his frustrations with the industry's lack of attention span, while also pointing the fingers at others as to why he never got a real second wind in the game.
Being inconsistent, bro, that shit was totally my choice. I didn't want to burn myself out. Bro, I felt like low key, bro. I couldn't bounce back unless I had a good ass feature on the shit. You feel me? So my Whoa Now song, bro. We got some good ass ad libs on it, bro. This shit's so amazing, but niggas been bullshitting me on that song for 2 years straight, bro. Since I previewed it, bro. Like my brother said, like my brother Cash said, you know, this rap shit just like high school. You feel me, bro? Niggas want to be around, you know, who the coolest niggas, who the hottest, who around, who all in the scene and shit. Y'all know that's just not me. So shit, fuck.
It only got worse in January 2022 when photos began circulating of someone who looked just like Ugly God working at Walmart, leading many fans to believe that the rap money really dried out, but it was quickly denied. Fans also began to notice that Ugly God's physical appearance was seemingly deteriorating, with many claiming he was possibly using drugs such as cocaine.
But half of the comments is niggas thinking I'm fucking snorting coke, doing meth. Niggas call me a crackhead. That shit like hurts my feelings, nigga, because for the last 2 years I've been fucking running every single day, every single morning at 4 a.m, eating right, drinking water, and working out just to look how I want to look. Got the right, like just to reach my goals, just for niggas to then think I'm on drugs or snorting whatever.
That's crazy, bro. Nigga can't even be healthy. That's crazy. That's crazy.
So stop saying that shit. That shit hurts my feelings, nigga. I work for what the fuck I got.
While this was great to hear, it did seem like there was something deeper going on that he wasn't telling us. But all of this news is harmless compared to what happened a couple months back. For a little while this year, it really seemed like Ugly God was gearing up to resurface. After staying pretty inactive on social media, he was suddenly tweeting again and released a 2-pack of music on SoundCloud in May. But weirdly, it wasn't put up on any major streaming services like Spotify or Apple Music. Along the way, he seemed to be teasing a new project with space travel-inspired artwork and a recurring hashtag called Floatery, suggesting that there was something for his fans on the way. And while he had previously complained that he hadn't built the base that he wanted to by coming out the gate way too early, he was still commanding 19 million listeners and 97 million streams a year on Spotify in 2022, which totals to about $200,000 in yearly income. Obviously, his label Asylum was taking a huge cut of that, but at the very least, it proved that there were still people out there checking for him, even if the vast majority of listeners moved on once he dipped out of sight. But whatever he was planning was seriously disrupted after he began making headlines claiming that he was named the gunman in the death of 50-year-old Ronaldo de la Valade. Reports claim that Ugly God killed his best friend's father during an argument. While the evidence is still unclear, some reports claim that Ugly God and others supposedly convinced Ronaldo to come back to the house by claiming that his 11-year-old son was in danger. When Ronaldo was leaving, he allegedly got shot 4 times in the face by Ugly God, resulting in his death. The account of what happened has mainly come from Ronaldo's sister, identifying as Tisha online. In her post, which detailed the killing, she claimed that Ugly God had bragged about his involvement in the shooting online and planned to use the fact that his uncle is a judge in Mississippi to avoid prosecution by using self-defense as a motive. When the news broke, the hip-hop world was completely shocked, with many in disbelief that the guy who made the song titled I Beat My Meat was the last person you would expect to be bagging up bodies. But what was more shocking to a lot of people is that after he had all that momentum back in the day, this was the first time that they heard his name even uttered in years.
What? Damn, so you
Due to the nature of how
you
hip-hop
killed
works,
somebody that-
people could label Ugly God as a one-hit wonder, despite the fact that he's only 26 years of age. But a lot of that comes down to the fact that with one major hit, he suddenly had the kind of profile that some artists in previous generations had shed blood, sweat, and tears to obtain. As he found out, getting your
The jacket say it all. Look at the jacket.
previous generations had shed blood, sweat, and tears to obtain. As he found out, getting your wildest dreams that fast means that there's no solid foundation for them to be stabilized on. And if you don't act decisively, you're gonna slide back down the ranks of the cruel world that is the music industry. Considering the fact that hip-hop audiences thrive on drama, it's likely that if he released a track tomorrow in the
Damn. That is way too accurate. Cause y'all don't never tune in to a hip hop artist unless he in some shit. Damn, that's sad.
wake of the shooting news, it'd probably do better numbers than anything he's released in years. But unfortunately, the moral of the Ugly God story will always be that you need to be careful what you wish for, as you might just get it before you can actually handle it. you need to be careful what you wish for.
Mm.
Gunna's career should be dead right now. This is insane to say for a rapper who currently boasts a #1 Billboard hit at the time of this recording, as well as amassing over 30 million monthly listeners on Spotify, and recently reaching a remarkable milestone with over 65 million views in a single month on YouTube. It's clear that Gunna's career isn't going anywhere anytime soon. However, a few months back, news broke that Gunna had betrayed the one person who had been instrumental in shaping his career, Young Thug, to the point where it plunged him into the worst phase of his life. With both fans and critics questioning whether he could bounce back from the regrettable situation he had found himself in, Gunna did something that no rapper has ever done before. Hi, I'm Luesta. I make weekly video documentaries of things I'm into, so subscribe if you enjoy. And today, I'm here to answer one simple question. Why is Gunna's career not dead when it very well should be? To understand that, we have to go back to the beginning and really analyze just how much Young Thug played a huge role in his success as a rapper.
That's my brother. Like, he signed to me, but it's like, it's not even about a signature. This is my real brother.
These words by Young Thug, who is widely known as Gunna's mentor and boss, would echo a false sense of reality. And you'll see why later in this video. But for now, let's get to know Gunna a bit. Gunna's real name is Sergio Kitchens, and he was born in College Park, Georgia. He was the youngest of 5 kids and raised by a single mom who worked at a school cafeteria. Growing up, life was really tough for Sergio. As he told Billboard in 2018, they weren't extremely poor, but they weren't really rich either. However, his family taught him how to save and manage his money wisely. And at the age of 13, he began investing in his rap career, where he started recording music in a friend's garage and coined the name Young Gun, which he would later shorten to Gunna. His first mixtape, Hard Body, was released way back in 2013. But contrary to the polished and smooth sound that he possesses today, his music back then was laughable to say the least.
Hard body, hard body, hard body, hard body. I know your nigga are like me.
Receiving feedback like, "This is fire" on mute, and "They should have locked him up for this," Gunna realized he had a lot of work to do if he planned to climb the ladder of success in the music industry. But what would happen only 3 years later would massively help Gunna skyrocket in his career.
I feel like Thug helped me because me being like artist more and just learning the game more because he had already been here. Me and Baby just kind of just created the history together. It was genuine. We were bigger together for us, like putting out songs, but like for us me growing and like somebody helping me that came from Thug.
Fans of these artists recognize that without Young Thug, Gunna might have remained unknown to the world. Given the events discussed later in this video, it's remarkable to realize just how pivotal Young Thug was in catapulting Gunna to global stardom. 2 years after Gunna's first music tape, Hard Body, the two rappers would cross paths for the first time. A mutual friend who was popularly known as King Troop ended up being the one who brought them together.
I met Thug through a mutual friend who knew him. He was like uncle of mine. Introduced us like a month before he died, and then when he died, it just brought us closer together.
For those who don't know, Keith King Troop is a deceased rap artist who was a close friend of both Young Thug and Gunna before he tragically passed away in December of 2015 after being shot 14 times. Only 1 month before King Troop passed away, he introduced Gunna to Young Thug, and after his passing, the two formed a closer bond with each other as they mourned his death.
Why folks be trying to overkill, bro? Like, not even that. It's just, it's wrong to kill a person, period. But like, shoot a nigga 14 times. That's crazy, man. That's crazy.
Death. 2015 was also the year that Young Thug was riding the wave of success that he had with Rich Gang, and was absolutely blowing up with his Slime Season mixtapes and singles. So he decided to use the knowledge on the industry to begin guiding Gunna, and really help him make his dreams become a reality. While this may seem like Thugger was just looking for an up-and-coming artist to sign and make more money off of, this actually wasn't the case. And he even claims that he never made a single dollar off of Gunna's career despite having a huge helping hand.
Gunna been around me 6-7 years. He in some of my old videos, y'all won't even know it's him. I never received $1 from him, not $1.
While spending time around Thug and learning from him, Gunna was planning his future steps in music. He decided to quit the street life that he was living in and focus completely on locking in the studio. Through this mindset and implementing an incredible work ethic, Thugger further helped Gunna gain popularity by featuring him on several of his tracks. One of them was the 2016 hit Floyd Mayweather alongside Travis Scott and Gucci Mane, who are some of the most recognizable rappers in the game. It was here where he started receiving comments like, "Best part is when Thug and Gunna go back and forth," and "To think that Gunna was going to be this big, I for real slept on him." Young Thug was also featured on various tracks from Gunna's famous Drip Season mixtapes, all of which were standout tracks due to Thugger's contributions. Thug later introduced Gunna as the signee to his new label, Young Stoner Life Records, widely known as YSL in 2017. Back in those days, YSL was still growing, and it wasn't anywhere near as big and well known as it is today. And unlike many other labels owned by rappers, Thugger made sure to support Gunna while giving him honest feedback on his projects and suggested improvements.
He the type like you play out your whole project first and then go over the reviews. He not gonna just off the top. He gonna more than try to enhance, be helpful. The ideas be right. Like I said, I'm a listener. A song I put out, he told me not to put it out. He like, bro, the song is big. Just wait. I don't know. He tripping. After when I put a song out and didn't do what I wanted to do, I felt like I should have waited.
This type of mentorship helped Gunna blow up in 2016 through 2017. And after Gunna collaborated with another fellow YSL affiliate, Lil Baby, on the mixtape Drip Harder that dropped on October of 2018, both Baby and Gunna were really put on the map, as they were able to land a whopping 9 tracks on the Billboard Hot 100. I mean, seriously, you couldn't go anywhere without hearing the chorus from Drip Too Hard. With their melodic, vibe-oriented style captivating listeners, Gunna and Baby became synonymous with one another, and the duo was becoming more and more recognizable each day. Gunna would go on to experience a ton of success with his debut album, Drip or Drown 2, which reached 3rd on the charts. His second album, Wanna, that dropped in 2020, did even better, debuting at number 1. With the collaborative project Slime Language 2 further solidifying YSL's name in the industry, and Gunna's third album, DS4, going on to outsell The Weeknd's Dawn FM for 2 weeks straight, it really seemed that Gunna was at the top of the world in 2022, and that nothing could stop him. He even surpassed his mentor, with Thugger's previous record Punk only moving 90,000 copies, while DS4 by Gunna pushed 150,000. There was really no doubt about it. Gunna had taken the ball that Jeffrey had given him and ran with it. However, as cliche as it sounds, what comes up must come down. And it seemed that Gunna was enjoying the success he had been given a little too much. And the universe decided that it was time for Gunna to face some hardships. Gunna's music career, unlike many others in hip-hop, has been relatively free of bumps, except for some minor controversies. He would get heavily memed for his body weight around the years 2020 through 2022, forcing him to lose a ton of weight to silence the critics. But on December 29th, 2019, an old video of Gunna began resurfacing the internet, and it was a really bad look for him, to say the least. In the video, it allegedly showed him in a Crime Stopper segment, which seemingly portrayed Gunna as a snitch. This is seen as a cardinal sin in the world of hip-hop. We'll get more into specifics as to why later, but the video showed that Gunna was willingly giving information to the feds about the death of one of his cousins.
Devontae Benton's younger cousin, Sergio Kitchens, says Benton is on trial for murder simply because his friends turned on him.
Just go to see like you ain't got no real friends out here.
This was released at a time before Gunna became anywhere near the famous rapper that he is today, leading him to receive comments such as, "Gunna, say it ain't so. You ain't no spider, you a rat." To which he responded to saying, "And you better do the history on this case a dude smoked." Now, I'm really not sure what he meant by that, but it was clear that the situation was clearly getting to him, and he would constantly have to address the situation on various interviews.
Talk to me about this Crime Stopper video that everybody's circulating. They trying to use that against you. What was that about?
I don't know what the fuck that's about. Crime Stopper well. I ain't never stopped a crime.
So that's not even you on that video?
Yes, that's me, but that wasn't on no Crime Stopper. I wasn't in no case or nothing. So it's saying like, oh, you snitched on who? I was never in no case. But you know, that go back to the internet. I don't really be feeding into a motherfucker don't know. I'm really from the street. Where I'm from, like, if you snitch, this shit is in paperwork. This shit is a document.
Sadly, the fans were not buying it. His body language can tell that he's bothered by the Crime Stopper's question. Gunna's Crime Stopper answer had me weak as fuck. Aside from throwing a bar at Freddie Gibbs after he was mocked for it, Gunna refused to be derailed by any of that drama and would instead simply choose to ignore it and keep making more music for his fans to enjoy. However, the snitching allegations wouldn't end here. And only a couple years later, Gunna would show his true colors.
Two of the hottest rappers coming out of Atlanta are now in big legal trouble. Young Thug and Gunna now among 28 people charged in a massive gang and racketeering sting out of Georgia. Authorities say they believe the two are associated with the Atlanta-based YSL gang, and they're accused of conspiring to violate the state's RICO Act.
Only about 2 years later, in May of 2022, it was reported that Gunna, Young Thug, among 28 other YSL members, were charged in a massive gang and racketeering sting in Georgia, where YSL was being portrayed as a gang instead of any other ordinary record label. This shocked the hell out of fans, and for some time, no one had any idea what was going on. Basically, it turned out that Young Thug was not only a rapper, but also a gang leader, and was using his label YSL as a cover-up for some horrific crimes that he was committing. The charges were heavy, accusing them of violating RICO, which, if you don't know, is the Racketeer Influenced and Corrupt Organizations Act. This law is so broad that just being a part of a group committing crimes, even without direct involvement in the crime, can still get you charged. Thugger was accused of heading a gang that allegedly targeted rappers like YFN Lucci due to an ongoing feud. This took place even while he was incarcerated, and he also faced additional drug and gun charges. Meanwhile, Gunna was charged with a single count of racketeering. Despite this, he was at risk, spending decades behind bars, all because of his simple involvement with YSL, the same label that helped him become the superstar that he is today. Their lawyers denied the charges, stating their music and lyrics were wrongly portrayed as part of a criminal conspiracy. Unfortunately, their bond was denied, and both of them would remain behind bars until further notice. This had fans and critics question which YSL members would fold, specifically aiming at Gunna, being that he did the least amount of harm than anyone else on the label, especially when legal experts suggested that taking a plea deal might be their best option considering the weight of the evidence. It should have came as no surprise that only 6 months later, on December 15th, 2022, Gunna entered a negotiation plea known as the Alford plea deal. Now, this is where things get a little tricky, because an Alford plea doesn't necessarily mean Gunna snitched. An Alford plea allows a defendant to maintain their innocence, but acknowledge that pleading guilty is in their best interest. So Gunna was sentenced to 5 years with 1 year served in prison, and 1 year sentence that was commuted to time served, along with a 4-year remaining balance on his sentence that had been suspended and changed to 500 hours of community service. After the sentence came down, the rapper released a statement saying, "While I have agreed to always be truthful, I want to make it perfectly clear that I have not made any statements, have not been interviewed, have not cooperated, have not agreed to testify or be a witness for or against any party in the case, and have absolutely no intention of being involved in the trial process in any way," which clearly indicated that he was well aware that the internet was about to let him have it upon his release. After his release, Gunna expressed his joy on Instagram, where he also wanted to make it clear that by taking an Alford plea, it didn't mean that he was technically switching sides. But when the footage of the hearing that led to his release surfaced online, the public opinion turned against him.
YSL is a music label and a gang, and you have personal knowledge that members or associates of YSL have committed crimes in furtherance of the gang.
In a video clip, a judge identifies YSL as both a music label and a gang and asks Gunna if he's aware of any criminal activities associated with the group. His response is simple, saying, "Yes, ma'am." This simple statement sparked a firestorm on the internet, especially within the hip-hop community on Twitter, with some fans claiming they can't believe he would do something like this, and others trying to defend the fact that an Alford plea isn't really snitching. To understand why this is such a big deal, you need to know a little about rap culture. Many rappers come from tough backgrounds where street loyalty is highly valued. Snitching is seen as the ultimate betrayal in this world, much like it is in gangs. A case in point is the rapper Tekashi 6ix9ine. He used his reputation of a notorious gang, the 9 Trey Bloods, to boost his fame. But when he gave the authorities information about the gang to avoid a jail sentence that was said to be around 47 years long, he was shunned by the hip-hop community, with his latest album failing to chart. But it's not just Tekashi 6ix9ine. Rappers like T.I., Fat Joe, and G Herbo, along with others such as Bottom Gotham, Finesse 2 Times, and 03 Greedo, have all had their reputations tarnished by accusations of snitching. So when Gunna's video hit the internet, many were quick to judge him. They weren't only disappointed that he had supposedly snitched, but also the fact that he had betrayed Young Thug, a person whom he owes a lot to. On top of this, fans made a whole compilation video of all the times Gunna swore he would never snitch on all of his songs, further fueling the controversy.
Never gonna be the one turn on my brother when police just got to detain.
Cap.
We can't be stopped, just admit it. Paint the town, baseline committed.
Cap.
Gunna was publicly criticized by Mondo, the founder of YSL, and notable rappers like Meek Mill and Lil Baby unfollowed him on social media, showing that they are no longer looking to cooperate with him. Fellow rapper Lil Durk, who had recently just put out a hit single with Gunna titled What Happened to Virgil, also alluded to the situation in an unreleased track, and in an interview with DJ Academics, he expressed his disappointment with Gunna.
If you a rat, you a rat. And if you rewind this clip a little bit, I looked into the camera and I told you, if you a rat, I fucking hate you. Cause I love Thug.
Famous rapper Tony Yayo also spoke out, stating that turning into a rat can end a career, highlighting the severity of the situation for Gunna.
If you turn into a rat, career's over. Me, I would have sat a little longer than coming out to what the internet do to you. That's just my opinion.
In response to the backlash, Gunna released a statement asserting that he hasn't testified against anyone or cooperated with any parties involved in the case. He mentioned that his testimony was different from that of Tekashi 6ix9ine, as he only acknowledged the existence of a gang framework and didn't specifically implicate anyone. At this point, many people were waiting to hear what Thug had to say before they made a ruling on what Gunna had done. And for those who waited to hear from YSL's leader, the verdict came in a leaked conversation between Thug and Durk, where Thug threatened to drop his album the same week as Gunna in hopes to diminish his sales.
Hey Durk, I'm dropping a surprise album on the same day Buddy dropped his album. That shit coming up soon. I need a verse from you. If you feel like you want to reply to it, that nigga saying don't do it. Drop it on my album. I'm dropping a surprise album on the same day that fuck nigga drop. Send your verse in, bro. I want you and Wham on the same song.
Gunna, however, did not let the lack of support from his label head discourage him. And what he did next could possibly mark a significant moment in the evolving culture of hip-hop in this modern era. Considering that we now have tangible evidence that Thug was mobilizing the troops against Gunna, it came as no surprise that when Gunna did gear up to drop his fourth album, A Gift and a Curse, there was a notable difference in the track list. While his album DS4 had 9 features across 20 tracks, Gunna was now marooned on his own island without a single guest. In terms of production, his longtime collaborator Turbo was still by his side. But gone were the contributions from the likes of Metro Boomin, Southside, Michael Made It, and many others. At this point, it's hard to tell whether he actively received rejections from anyone out of loyalty to Thug or disdain for what he had done, or if he just saved himself the potential embarrassment. Rather than pretending that nothing happened, Gunna spoke of his heartache about Thug's predicament on the song I Was Just Thinking, spitting, "Only I done cried cause this feeling for my bro, knowing you hearing the lies that your little brother might have fold. Yeah, I popped out, but don't let him say I told." Unless he had a serious change of heart since the album came out, Thugger likely isn't receptive to these confessions, nor is anyone who is horrified by his alleged ratting. But what the record's release has proven is that plenty of people are. And perhaps even more unthinkably, he is still competing with Thugger and outshining him in some ways. In the case of Thugger's former Prodigy's album, Gunna shifted 85,000 copies of A Gift and a Curse in its first week, making it the 3rd highest debut for a hip-hop album this year, and surpassing what he was projected to sell by 5,000 copies. Meanwhile, Young Thug's album, Business is Business, sold just 89,000 copies, which is still very impressive, but it falls short of the estimated 110,000 that he was anticipated to sell. Before Thug released the project,
how would you expect somebody to sell that much in jail?
It was expected that hip-hop would rally around its embattled artists. Not to mention that it had features from heavy hitters like Travis Scott, Drake, 21 Savage, Future, Lil Uzi Vert, and many more. Basically, the kind of artist you send when you're looking to do numbers. As I explained a minute ago, Gunna managed to pull in 85,000 with no features, and he still sold only 4,000 less than his mentor, who had all of the added streaming incentives at his disposal. So how did he manage to do this? For starters, we have the fact that the music on A Gift and a Curse is undeniable and is resonating with audiences. Whereas someone like Tekashi was always an outlier bordering on novelty, Gunna has been an architect of the modern trap sound in a lot of ways, right down to its vocabulary.
I feel like me and Lil Baby, we like the new generation for the young generation. It was swag back then. Now it's drip now, you know what I'm saying? And I'm popping that drip, baby popping that drip. I feel like we setting a tone for younger kids. That's our fan base. Our fan base is the young crowd. Like, we got OGs too. This the young crowd.
Appealing to a fan base which begins in its teens, the changing of the guard that hip-hop has experienced could also be crucial when it comes to how Gunna has gotten away scot-free. Now recognized as the biggest genre in the world, hip-hop is as popular in suburbia as it is in the streets. Raised in an era where IG antics from your favorite rapper in scot-free. Now recognized as the biggest genre in the world, hip-hop is
My dude did that shit like he was a pop star. I ain't gonna lie. That little skip hop he just did.
Is as popular in suburbia as it is in the streets. Raised in an era where IG antics from your favorite rappers are commonplace, these fans have a different value system where clout has overtaken realness. As a result, we're reaching a point where the authenticity or seal of approval from the streets is no longer seen as pivotal to a successful rap career. Just look at someone like Lil Mabu. A private school kid cosplaying as a gangster would have never taken off previously. But in today's era, he's got a real shot at a lucrative rap career. Although what Gunna did in taking the plea deal will
Mabu the truth though. I ain't gonna lie. Mabu, check him out. That's all I'm gonna say.
always garnered the disapproval of people like Boosie or Tony Yayo, who are traditionalists molded by the streets. Someone who's hopping onto Rap Caviar to see what they're adding to their upcoming playlist aren't going to be too worried about what allegiances a rapper may or may not have. Instead, they're just looking for the next track that they'll bump in the whip or give them that extra push for another set in the gym. This, in a nutshell, explains why Thugger's project only narrowly outsold Gunna's album. In terms of singles from either album, Gunna's Fuck You Mean has landed on #1 on the Billboard charts, outpacing every track from Business is Business from Young Thug. And if you look at YouTube comments for the song, it tells you everything you need to know. Talent overshadows hate regardless of the situation. This dude can't be denied. Gunna really showed him, LOL. The album goes crazy. While there is a certain portion of the audience who aren't willing to acknowledge what Gunna did differs from someone like Tekashi 6ix9ine, the vast majority of hip-hop listeners today are more focused on the music than the street politics that surround it. As a result, as long as he keeps cranking out the 808 heavy, ready-made hits that he built his brand from, there's always going to be an audience for Gunna. And now that he's proven himself to still be a coveted commodity on the charts, don't be surprised if his next album has a few features from some majorly big names too.
They said downfall, baby crew. They think he falling off, man. Think he falling off? I don't know.
And the BET award goes to Lil Baby.
In 2020, Lil Baby had the biggest album of the entire year in terms of streaming numbers, beating records from the likes of Taylor Swift and Harry Styles to claim the top spot. Then, in October of 2022, he simultaneously charted 25 songs on the Billboard Hot 100, becoming the youngest person to ever achieve this feat. But with an arena tour being canceled due to poor sales, and his name cropping up less and less in cultural conversation, it seems as if Lil Baby is facing real adversity within the music industry for the first time. I'm Uwesta, and today I'm here to answer one simple question. Did Lil Baby fall off? Or is his downfall being over-exaggerated by the hip-hop community? When Lil Baby first bursted onto the scene in 2017, he was seen as one of the most fastest growing rappers in the history of hip-hop. He went from practically being a nobody to being signed to the same label as the Migos, got the Drake stimulus package, and was already putting out songs that were considered to be anthems for the city of Atlanta. Now, this is insane, because only 2 years prior to 2017, Lil Baby was just another dude hanging out in the street. And during multiple run-ins with the law due to things stemming from marijuana possession, reckless driving, eluding police, and attempting to escape arrest after a high-speed chase. Yeah, that boy Baby was out here doing the race like TK in 2017. But this won't be the only time in the video where Baby will get penalized for changing lanes, if you know what I mean. And later we'll discuss the drastic effect this had when it happened in his career. But hanging out in the streets of Atlanta had both positive and negative effects on Lil Baby. On one hand, it led him to various trouble, but on the other, it also provided him with valuable connections. These connections allowed him to meet influential rappers like Young Thug and Gunna, who both played a crucial role in his success. Additionally, meeting Coach K and Pierre P. Thomas, who run the label Quality Control, which you guys probably know as QC, which became a huge turning point for him. This is the same label that had signed artists like the Migos and Lil Yachty and were instrumental in helping them skyrocket in their career. These people would all have to encourage Baby to rap, as they all believed he had all the characteristics that were needed to become a famous rapper.
Coach K used to always say, man, Baby got that swag. He got that real young Atlanta nigga swag. I'm telling you, he need to rap. Coach used to always say that.
But rapping came at a cost, and Lil Baby was all about the bag. Since rapping wasn't really making any bread, and Lil Baby had a duty to provide for his family by hustling drugs and playing dice, he needed to see money coming in to get away from that life he was living. Words of encouragement didn't do enough for him. Like they say, money talks, and thankfully, it was Young Thug who aided him financially, as he really believed in Baby's ability to hit the mainstream.
Young Thug really, literally, like, paid me to leave the neighborhood. Like, bro, you can rap, you got it. I'm telling you, like, you could be net. Like, bro, you got to leave the hood. Like, I'm telling you, like, bro, I pay you to come to the hood today. Like, how much you gonna make today? Like, I'm gonna pay you to come to the studio, just stay at the studio all day. Like,
Gunna would also play a huge role, as he would act as Lil Baby's ghostwriter for some time, and when he got the hang of it, he was off to the races. Lil Baby even claimed he told QC that he wouldn't stop living the life he was living if he didn't at least get $5 million for a deal. Now, I tried researching what deal he was given.
So that's why Gunna so hurt by this Lil Baby switching sides shit. Okay. Like they really brothers. Like they're not gonna just help you make your career, and that shit just skyrocketed like that. This nigga was ghostwriting the whole time for you, and damn.
By QC, but it was really difficult to find. However, it seems that he was signed to QC in 2017, and when he did, he wasted no time and would go on to drop 3 projects that same year that really put him on the map, specifically for songs like Pure Cocaine,
Made a brick do a brick, ain't whip up shit, this pure cocaine. Yeah.
and My Dog.
That is my dog show. That is my dog. That is my dog show. That is my dog.
But as if dropping 3 projects in 2017 wasn't enough, Lil Baby proved that he was only getting started, as he dropped 4 more successful projects in 2018, including the collaborative project Drip Harder with Gunna, the Street Gossip mixtape, and his debut album, Harder Than Ever. Peaking at number 3 on the charts, Harder Than Ever made it evident that Lil Baby was playing for keeps. And in a career that had been full of helping hands, Lil Baby was about to get another one on this record, when he became a beneficiary of what has been referred to in hip-hop circles as the Drake stimulus package, after he got Drizzy to make an appearance on the hit track Yes Indeed.
Get all the favors, they never repay me. It worked in my favor because nobody said
Brand new whip, got no keys. Tell him
Now, the song Yes Indeed was most people's introduction to Lil Baby, and it peaked at number 6 on the charts. But with the impact that it had on his career, it might as well been that of a number 1 in terms of what it did for his status. As was also the case for Drip Harder's title track, which landed at number 4, but ultimately went on to become Lil Baby's first and currently only diamond record. Suddenly becoming one of the most in-demand artists for features, Lil Baby would spend the remainder of 2018 and 2019 contributing to tracks for other artists, including Lil Durk, Yo Gotti, DJ Khaled, Post Malone, and many more. Throughout this time, he has been building up a buzz that made his 2020 project, My Turn, one of the biggest hip-hop albums of the decade. It was released in February of 2020 and sold 197 units in the first week, giving Baby his first number.
But My Turn went crazy. Not gonna lie. But that's the thing, when you have something that go crazy like that, how do you top that?
1 album. By the time he dropped the deluxe edition, he had his first and only number 1 single with the Black Lives Matter anthem, The Bigger Picture, which was released during the George Floyd riot. Sadly, since this album was released during the pandemic, all the concerts and shows were closed down, so he wasn't really able to cash in and capitalize on the success of this album. Looking back, it's wild to think how big Baby's shows could have been in the My Turn era. It was literally the biggest record in the world in 2020, but he never got to take it directly to his fan base. And now it seems like many of his fans might have lost interest. And we'll discuss the reasons why shortly. Basically, in the aftermath of My Turn's release, it seemed that Lil Baby could do no wrong, with even the likes of the legendary Kanye West labeling him his favorite rapper. Before long, Ye asked him to hop onto Hurricane alongside The Weeknd, making him one of the many people who sought Baby's assistance in 2021 and 2022. He was so in demand that he even claimed to have charged about 300 racks for a feature back in 2022. After dropping the Voice of the Heroes collab project with Lil Durk, which did 150,000 first-week units and another #1, 2022 looked to be the year that Baby took crown that so many people seemed eager to place upon his head. Intent on staying humble and in the moment, he said all the right things in terms of delivering a record that would surpass my churn. As rather than focusing on the temporary high of chart success, Lil Baby insisted to the Breakfast Club that for him, it was longevity that really mattered.
What is important to you when you put together a project?
That they do well. Also that it do well for a long period of time. Like that's what matters to me. Like I wanted to stick.
But as we know, this wasn't the case this time, as for the first time in his career, fans would be left wanting more from a Lil Baby release. And soon, a man who had only known plain sailing as a performer was faced with a bombardment of negativity from critics and fans. Initially, the numbers all suggested that things were moving in the right direction when he dropped his third album in October of 2022. Upon its release, the album titled It's Only Me sold 216 album equivalent units, including 6,500 pure album sales, which is absurd for this day and age where streaming is everyone's go-to option for listening to their favorite music. While this is pretty amazing, there was something strange about this release. Unlike his other projects, this album stayed only 1 week on the top before dropping directly out of the top 10. And it seemed pretty fishy. To make things worse, the reviews were brutally unimpressed. Lil Baby is at his best when he's using those tricks to switch between moods. But there's only one on It's Only Me, wrote Pitchfork, who gave his album a 5.5 out of 10. And it's indifferent, not in the too cool to care kind of way, but in the way when words have no weight behind them. Perhaps even more shockingly, the album didn't deliver on the commercial front either. Although it helped Lil Baby make history becoming the youngest artist to have 23 tracks on the Billboard at once, none of them stayed there for very long, or made much of a lasting impact, making it seem as if returning fans listened to the song a few times and weren't really feeling them, leading them to quickly dispose of it. Where other albums had big singles to anchor the rollout around, It's Only Me's lead single, Hey, peaked at number 21. Meanwhile, California Breeze and Friday briefly hit the top 10, but disappeared soon after. In the view of academics, who found himself getting dissed on the album in the shape of bars like, academics know he ain't richer than me. The problem was due to the amount of success he had obtained meant that no one was willing to challenge him on his artistic missteps, instead opting to hold on to their meal ticket until it went into the shredder. Basically, bro had a bunch of yes men surrounding him. And what can they really say when the past couple of years, everything Lil Baby had touched turned to gold? Sharing footage from inside the studio, academics blasted his crew as nothing but yes men, writing, "Look around at everybody in the studio this day you previewed the song. They're all liars. This should have never left the engineer's headphones." And during his appearance on the Flagrant podcast with Andrew Schultz, Ack outlined a reaction to the project within the inner circle of the industry, as well as diagnosing what he felt went wrong.
No, I talked to his peers too. I talked to other people who rap. They're all shocked that this is the album that was dropped. Even though it's not trash, I'm going to amplify the fact that it's mid, which might be just as detrimental if it was trash.
In this sense, the achievement that Lil Baby pulled off.
That boy Act be talking that shit, man. Be talking.
With It's Only Me flattered to deceive a little. Or as one Twitter user put it, Lil Baby occupying the entire top 23 on Apple Music with songs from It's Only Me doesn't mean the album ain't mid. While My Turn's success was a catalyst for a period of dominance, this certainly wasn't the case for It's Only Me. And as a result, by the 20th of December 2022, chart data reported that Lil Baby is not present on the Hot 100 for the first time this decade, ending a 176-week streak of charting. And while this was likely a major blow to his ego, it was nothing compared to what was coming. As I said in the intro, Lil Baby's star is in a bit of a tailspin at the moment, as he's now having to cancel some shows during his It's Only Us tour. Even though he's tried his best to sweeten the pot by taking the likes of Glorilla and the Kid Leroy on tour with him, shows in Phoenix, Sacramento, Salt Lake City, Denver, Indianapolis, Louisville, and Pittsburgh were all canceled without explanation. But in all likelihood, it's because these shows were simply not selling. Almost instantly, Twitter did what they do and went crazy, basically jumping to conclusions about the fall off of Lil Baby. And while that might be a little overzealous to some, it's certainly not a great look. For starters, even with hip hop's dominance on the charts, it's still uncommon for MCs to be able to accomplish the feat of selling out arenas. And many of these venues Lil Baby was trying to sell out had capacities of upwards of 20,000 people. In terms of mainstream hip-hop, you need to be as elite of an artist as the likes of Drake, Eminem, Nicki Minaj, or Ye to comfortably fill a basketball stadium or bigger. Even Travis Scott is experiencing a little bit of blowback from audiences who aren't convinced that he can sell out stadiums single-handedly. Besides, it's not like It's Only Me was his strongest project. Simply put, even though It's Only Me outsold My Churn in the first instance, he hasn't gotten anywhere near the degree of adoration from the audience and industry in general as he did back then. And the album basically disappeared from the world's collective consciousness. But what contributed to this pitfall? And how does he fix it before it's too late? One argument would be that, as often happens, his wealth has made him complacent and robbed him of the fierce work ethic that he had back in the day. For starters, he admittedly stopped sharpening his skills, and now is only doing features purely for money rather than to advance his talents as an MC.
What's your feature price right now?
Like 300, but I ain't been doing features lately.
What's the thinking behind that?
Like now I'm about to put out an album. So
Makes sense.
But if I know I ain't putting out no album, I don't got nothing going on, like why not?
In terms of the music on It's Only Me, one common critique that's come up from online reviewers like Anthony Fantano and the NFR podcast has been the staleness in production. A familiar criticism that's been leveled at someone like NBA Youngboy in recent years, as they continue to make the same songs over and over again and expect to continue striking gold. Lil Baby continues to use the likes of ATL Jacob, Chi-Chi, Murder Beats, and Wheezy, among others, rather than reaching out of his comfort zone. As a result, some Redditors have wondered if he needs to lock in with just one producer to deliver a degree of cohesion to his work. While the beats may be one reason for how uninspired he sounded on the project, this manifested in his lyrics too. A record which featured songs about adjusting to fame, rather than the honest, insightful bars about his life that made his name. There's every chance that people were perhaps expecting something more on the content front too. As when you consider it's his only #1, the bigger picture technically remains his biggest song. When it initially dropped, Coach K maintained that the song was literally a gateway drug for people to get into Lil Baby. But given that he hasn't had any #1s since, it appears that those fans didn't necessarily stick around. And maybe they were relying on some of those conflated numbers who listened to the track to fill those arenas. Plus, it doesn't help that since then, Lil Baby has publicly renounced that direction. The more I'm seeing what's up with all that shit, the more I'm like, let me back off politics. He told GQ in 2020, I don't want to be no Malcolm X or Martin Luther King. I stuck my nose in it. I'm good at that. Now operating in celebrity circles, Lil Baby has become a household name. And while that sounds positive, it likely informed him and his team that they were on the right track when they were really setting themselves up to experience.
I don't understand, like, why don't niggas want to be, I don't know. I get it. I mean, not everybody built for, being a true role model. You know what I mean? Shit come with it. You feel me? And it's like, it's not like y'all niggas ain't used to, death threats or people saying crazy shit to y'all. So it's like, what's really going to stop you from really being a true role model? You get what I'm saying?
Experience diminishing returns by not evolving enough. Appearing in Axe body spray commercials and getting clowned for his TV spots for the Billboard Music Awards, Baby has gone from Oakland City to hanging with billionaires. And it's clear that's exactly the kind of territory that he wants to be in.
It seems you've been spending a lot of time around billionaires. What are you learning from being around these people?
Being around those type of people, I learned a lot of different stuff in business. Business and like how to spend money. when I get my money.
Now pictured hugging Michael Rubin and attending all-white parties, Lil Baby has shed his original image, and while no one is suggesting he should have stayed in the hood, it seems like he's trying to speedrun his hip-hop career to the point of being an arena-selling artist with a massive net worth, when he hasn't necessarily did all the work required for that. And now it appears that some of those same listeners that made him a star are beginning to sour on him, or, as is often the case in a genre as fast-paced as hip-hop, have since moved on to someone else. To Lil Baby's credit, he understood this was a very viable possibility given how fickle the game is, and opened up about it during an appearance on Revolt's Big Facts podcast.
You can do this shit forever.
Right,
bro.
it's
Like,
possible.
It's possible too, though.
Yeah.
You feel me? Like, but for the most part, it be like you have a little window.
A previously humble artist that now has his own label's IG account saluting him as the best artist of his generation, it seems like the celebrity lifestyle likely lulled him into a false sense of security in terms of his power as a draw. And as a result, he didn't necessarily take on the musical evolution needed to keep his fans engaged. For all these reasons, Lil Baby is now facing the toughest crossroads of his career. But is there still time to course correct? Well, in Lil Baby's opinion, it seems so.
Do you feel like?
I mean, him hanging around billionaires ain't a problem. But niggas I don't know. How long you expecting they to be just a rapper? You feel me? If you want to get into something else, make more money, then, you know, that's what you want to do. Feed him and his family and shit. It's just, you know, niggas is crabs nowadays. They just want you to stay in the barrel. You know, they don't want you to be successful or reach your own personal goals. And that's the thing. These are his personal goals. He gave you what y'all wanted. You know what I'm saying? Let him do him. Shit's crazy.
Like you've mastered your craft yet?
Not at all. I just say my craft as a rapper, I feel like I'm 20%.
Why do you say, what about the other 80?
I gotta get down.
While Lil Baby knows he has a journey ahead, he hasn't fully grasped the exact requirements to achieve his goal. It's crucial to recognize that his current position doesn't mean it's impossible to succeed. However, he's yet to join the elite group of rappers who can easily fill these arenas. To reach that level, he must rediscover the drive he once had when he released an impressive 7 projects in just 2 years. By reconnecting with that spirit and undergoing the artistic evolution he believes is necessary, there's no doubt he can reach those remarkable heights once again. It's a matter of finding the right path to success in a genre where both critics and fans can be passionate. But let me know in the comments what you guys think Lil Baby needs to do to keep his career afloat. In the meantime, if you like this video, you're definitely going to like the ones on...
I don't know, man. Is the kid Lil Baby falling off? I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't think he went anywhere. I thought, you know, his career was, you know, it was like shooting up. It's up. You know what I mean? When he released his latest project with Hey and all that, it was kind of like he didn't like drop, but it was like a little bit lower than where he was. You feel me? It was almost like a step down, not like a downfall type shit, but just a little bit. No, not just just like a notch down. You feel what I'm saying? So like, say he, to me, Lil Baby like a 8.5 out of 10 as a rapper. That last album he put out made him about like a 7.5. So yeah, that's about it. Yeah, man. Appreciate y'all for chilling with CuZo. Y'all have a good Saturday.